What's up? Welcome back. I'm John Stark, back at TheMovieGuy.com, your favorite blind film critic, and today I'm going to do a series review of Laid. I hope it's season one review. Could be a series. I don't know. I'm really hoping this gets uh, another season. It's adapted from an Australian TV series. This is the version that's available on Peacock with audio description that stars Stephanie Sue and Zosia Mamet. And I should say Academy Award nominee Stephanie Sue. In case you're thinking about, well, I wasn't going to watch it. It's like, oh, she's an Oscar nominee. Oh, she must be good. Um, and it's a goofy concept. It is. And for people who are like, I feel like this is shaming women for having too many sex partners, I would say valid if you think that the same movie couldn't have, if you think the same series couldn't have been gender flipped. Like, if you think that this same thing couldn't have happened the exact same way, that, like, does her gender actually matter here is the question. And I don't think it does. I could have seen this exact same series with a dude. I think it doesn't really matter who's in the part here. Nobody is shaming her because she's a woman. Like, she just has a lot of sex partners. So if you feel the shame, then you need to figure out why you feel ashamed that she has this many sex partners. A comically large amount of sex partners, by the way, to be honest. But it makes entertaining 8 episodes. Um, so she ends up. That we have our main girl Ruby, played by Stephanie Sue, is uh living her best life. She has sex with this guy who has this awful weird Spotify playlist where he didn't it's not ad free, so they every time they keep having sex, like, they break for commercials. And there's a joke about Elizabeth, which I thought was a really funny joke about how many Elizabeth ads there were while they were having sex. Um, so she breaks up with that guy. She kind of just breaks up with guys for, like, really silly reasons, and then she remembers these, like, really silly reasons. So he becomes, like, bad Spotify list guy. Like, that's his thing. Um, Somewhere along the way, she's made aware of the fact that some of her, like, one of her exes died, and she's been invited to this funeral for him. And through that, she's learned that some of her other exes have died, and one of them literally dies right in front of her. Like, I think this is still episode one stuff. So she's clued into the fact that she's losing a lot of exes. And when she realizes this, she's like, oh my God, my exes are dying in the order in which I slept with them. So um, she is so she starts trying to investigate, and then she becomes convinced there's maybe someone who's trying to off her exes one by one, or she literally goes in and has, like, she's really dumb, and it's great. And you can say that because she is. Like, she thinks her vagina is killing people, so she goes in and has it checked out by a gynecologist. But then at the end of that meeting, she's like, okay, fourth you're like the fourth one to say yes. She's like, I'm the fourth one. Like, she went to, like, multiple, she had to be validated by multiple gynecologists that her vagina was not killing people. Um, this is a goofy and silly series, but the chemistry between Stephanie and Zosia is perfect. These are two characters. Zosia plays AJ, who is her best friend slash roommate, and they are perfection. And I just wanted, like, I just want them together, and I don't care what they're doing. Like, I don't care. She could have survived the curse. I would have just watched more of these two characters doing dumb shit together. Like, they are perfect. They're this great comedic pairing where AJ is, like, the slightly smarter one most of the time, over Ruby. There are some really great gags here that I don't want to ruin for you. Like, AJ's really deep into true crime, And there's a thing that happens in the final episode that is that'll just floor you. Like that, I was just like, I can't believe they did that. That's amazing. um, that ties into AJ's whole thing. Um, that ends up as sort of like an apology from someone. So, but yeah, it's all about trying to stop whatever's happening from killing everybody Ruby's ever slept with. And also throughout this, Ruby is also an event planner, and she's working with this hot guy, Isaac, who is planning this anniversary event for his parents. And at the time, he has a girlfriend who is equally stupid like Ruby. She's really dumb also. Like everyone in this movie, everyone in the show is actually really dumb, which is why I think some of the people are like this has like a 6 point something on IMDb. I think people are like, well, the people in here are too stupid. But that's kind of what makes it funny, is that there isn't like the smart characters are even in and of themselves kind of dumb. Like the men here, there are a couple men that come in and out. The ones who actually are the smartest are generally her exes who die. Like they have these great sort of like open moments, and you're like, wow, there's some wisdom here. Oh shit, they're about to die, you know. Like, but there is one sex loophole. Richie, he's not very bright, where they can't figure out why Richie didn't die. And they never do, by the way. So Richie is Michael Angareno's character, and he may or may not come back for another season. I don't know, because he's, you know, they leave it. This is not a limited. It does not end as a limited series. It's a whether or not Peacock will pick it up for a second season. So and Isaac is this, um, you know, she and him have this chemistry, and she's like, well, maybe he's the true love that I keep seeing in movies and hoping for. So they have a lot of cheesy moments. One of them I actually thought was really good. One of them was she's in a position where she has to read. She has to stand at the altar with. They're going through like a run through of the anniversary thing, and Isaac has his parents' old wedding vows. So she has to read through one of them. Either I can't remember if it's the dad or the mom's. And in that moment, she just kind of realizes this is everything that she's ever wanted, and all that, you know, fucking around that she's been doing. It has never led her to this. Like she's been wanting this the whole time, but she keeps messing everything up, and never she's never getting to this like 40th anniversary thing that he's doing for his parents. Um, so that worked for me. Later on, and I write more on TV about my website when I say MacMovieGuy.com. I try to spare my YouTube channel with an onslaught of constant TV content. But when I got to a certain episode, it was at the end of episode 7, where Isaac is given this speech that is so profoundly stupid. It doesn't even work. Like, even for a show where everyone is dumb, it actually bothered me. So I live with him like the worst performance of the day. But and it was mainly because of the writing of this speech. It's like the antithesis of, you know, like the Julia Roberts speech in Notting Hill, where everybody like uses that. I'm just a girl standing here. It's like a dumb version of that. Uh, it's like supposed to have, but it's really not well written enough. Um, but I know it's supposed to mesh with, but I was picking up the rest of the vibes of this series. I was on board with. I thought the rest of the series. So for me, in that moment, to go, this doesn't work with this level of stupid. This does not match the rest of your level of stupid. Gave me pause. um, but yeah, this is a really silly, dumb sitcom. I think Stephanie and Zosia are brilliant in. And I think you should watch in general. I was laughing so many times, like audibly, openly laughing and giggling, because it is that silly. It's so hilariously, the audio description is okay. The audio description has some moments where it comes in clutch, like on a lot of the deaths, uh, which some of them are violent, not great deaths, but also kind of hilarious at the same time. Um, there's one in there's one in the final episode that is hilarious, objectively. Um, but yeah, there's two in the final episode that are objectively hilarious. Um, there's one at the end too that in case you were wondering what the tone of the series is, it actually, and the audio description in that moment supported it 100%. But there were times where there was like nothing, and there was also no audio description, and I was like, there has to be something here where you can give me context. Like, I hate that. I hate when there's just dead air, and I'm like, is there nothing to describe? There's nothing else that you feel like you can add to this moment, you know? I hate dead air in movies now because I just think, especially when it's not even like a song that we're supposed to appreciate, it's just dead air. If you have 3, 4 seconds, of dead air, use it for something, a transition, a facial expression, a comment about what somebody's wearing, their hair. Do you know what I'm saying? The how we're looking at the people in the shot, if they're taking a pause to stare at each other for a few minutes, say that. I mean, there's so many things. There was actually one time where the episode started and it didn't have audio description for so long that I actually had to check to make sure I had it turned on. Like, it was a couple minutes before something was audio described in one of the episodes. I actually was like, is there was nothing. A lot of Peacock shows will start off with somebody in the audio description saying a Peacock original. It didn't have that, so it didn't give me like the little thing up at the top to let, which kind of is great. It's sort of the thing that I didn't realize I needed until it wasn't there, which lets me know your audio description is turned on. I validate your thoughts, and it didn't do that. And there were a couple times where I was like, "What's that? Is it on? Do I need to check?" So, yeah, it didn't. Sometimes it just feels like it just doesn't use the full thing. But in the moments that it really matters, it absolutely comes in clutch. It absolutely, for all of the things that are these huge big sight gags, those are described really well. It's just contextually outside of that, I felt like I didn't get much. Like the building up of the characters, their wardrobes, what they look like, all those kind of things, like their location, the apartments. It just wasn't, really didn't care about doing any of that, which a lot of sitcoms don't. They don't have the time to do that. But take any time you can to try to jump in there and do it, because by the end of the series, you're like, I don't even know what some of these people look like, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, at the end of the series, I'm like, I don't know who these people are. I mean, that was funny, but I feel like I never got a character description for this person or this person or this person. And that's kind of what ends up happening. And I criticized the St. Denis Medical pilot for basically the same thing. I was like, this is the pilot. This is where you set the standard. From every episode after this, we're expected to sort of be like, well, we're jumping in. I mean, if I jump into season 2, episode 14, and I don't know what any of the characters look like, and I just start watching from there, I can't really bitch about the fact that I don't know what the characters look like, because there was this whole thing before that. So the question is always, when the character was introduced, was there enough audio description given? And arguably no. Like I said, the show comes in clutch on sight gags, but not necessarily on world building. So, not my favorite audio description track, but it has some really great moments to it, um, where, because what was being described was so funny and so necessary, the audio description knocked it out of the park. It's almost like being given an underhand pitch in professional baseball, and you're like, of course I'm going to hit this out of the park. Why are you underhanding me in professional baseball? you know um Yeah, it's or a layup. Like you're running down the court and there's like no one there, and you're like, well, of course he's gonna get that. He's gonna dunk it. There's LeBron just running towards it. You're like, of course that ball's going in. There's nobody even trying to catch him. Like he's not gonna miss that. Yeah, so there are moments like that. But I loved Blade. Just that one little scene didn't, but overall, as one of the funniest things I've seen this year. This is way funnier than like so glad HBO is not doing a second season of the franchise. That did not work for me at all. Um, this did. Blade is this is my bag. I'm giving Blade an A. I hope you watch it, and I hope Peacock gives it a second season. Anyway, thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing, and I'll see you guys on the other side.